Well, hello there, guys. You guys really enjoyed my last Jacobite uprising video, and this time we're going to be playing the final battle, one of the final battles of the Jacobin uprising, and this time we're playing as, or the Jacobite uprising, excuse me, this time we're playing as the Hanoverians, and basically we're playing as the Duke of Cumberland, the Butcher Cumberland. There's actually an excellent docudrama film made about this particular battle, and it's basically, you know, a mockumentary, but it's a mockumentary that really tries to be as realistic in its portrayal as possible. And basically, these Highland Scottish clans fighting for Prince Charles had nothing left. The best thing they could have done is actually run into the Highlands and hid, but they decided, because of Prince Charles, to stay back and fight. And after they were defeated by the Hanoverians, he didn't even pay them. Wow. Bonnie Prince Charlie, not my favorite guy in history. That being said, we're going to be playing as the Hanoverians to wipe out this Scottish Highlander rebellion with the Jacobites and send Prince Charles fleeing, guys. Let's jump into it. Now, this explanation here, guys, is a really, really great one, but basically the way this worked was quite simple. The Scottish Highlanders, the Scottish Highland clans, actually only had, or mostly only had, bucklers and short swords. Now, these things up close and personal could be absolutely devastating, and they could cut down several redcoats. But as long as the redcoats could keep them at bay with their gunfire, they could eventually destroy them with gunfire alone. Not to mention that a few Scottish clans actually fought with the British in this fight, so this actually made the Battle of Culloden also a battle between clans. Let's jump in and see what we have to fight these Jacobites with, and let's hope that it's enough. These guys are definitely tough warriors, but thankfully technology seems to be on our side. Look at that. That is a massive battle. William Augustus, Duke of Cumberland, as the second son of George III, will be more than a purely military engagement for you. At stake is the very survival of your dynasty on the British throne. You're an experienced, level-headed commander, but the Jacobite victories at Prestonpans and Falkirk, by the way, go check out my Prestonpans video, have given your men an exaggerated fear of the enemy's Highland charge. Alright, guys, you can read the rest for yourself, and if you guys want me to read it all next time, I feel free. I would love to. Look at our wonderful host. It's looking pretty awesome here. And by the way, I should mention that this particular scenario was created by Odinethius. This is a user scenario, and I really appreciate him doing this. So let's go ahead and move forward. I'm not really that afraid of the Jacobins, or the Jacobites. I gotta stop saying Jacobins, that's the French Revolution. But at the same time, we do want to be careful. So they probably are going to have a lot of, you know, basically close combat soldiers, infantry that can fight really up close and personal. Besides that, I don't think they're going to have much to stand up to us. So we're going to keep on moving forward, and I hope I'm right. Once again, it's a rainy, nasty day out here. Nobody wants to be at this fight. Much less the enemy. They're definitely terrified. They know we've got muskets, they know we're trained in combat, and they know that, quite frankly, they're pretty much outmatched in this fight. I'm going to move forward here, and I'm not going to move this cavalry all the way up. I just want to use them as a scouting force, essentially, while I move the rest of these guys forward as well. Go, men! For king and country. In this case, the king would be George III. Also love how Odinethius puts in each of the division flags, etc. So we get not only the British flag there, but we get a bunch of divisional flags. And the same is true for the Highlanders. Let's keep moving forward, and I shall end the turn. By the way, there's also a multiplayer version of this battle available. So if one of you guys wants to play as the Jacobites and somebody else plays as the Hanoverians, I would love to see that. So here we go, guys. Let's end the turn. Let's see what the Jacobites have. Not a single thing. And that, of course, is Prince Charles there. Bonnie Prince Charles trying to push his claim on the British throne. Let's hope it doesn't work. But I love this. We've got the MacLeans and the MacLachans. This is an entire group of clans that are working together. The Montaudries, the John Roy Stuart Brigade, the 1st Battalion. A lot of men here, guys, and very few of these are not Highlanders. We've got, like, for instance, the Royal Ecossoi and a few other regiments, like the Wright Squadron Cavalry, that do look fairly regimental and, you know, up to date, but the rest of these guys are just Highland clans. So we've got to try to get on them quickly. They also need to try and meet us quickly. The whole goal here is to open fire so much that we break their lines before they even make it to ours. So I'm probably going to start setting my guys up in a really nice defensive formation and hope that that holds the enemy off. Another thing I'm not so happy about is I think my powder could get dry here very easily, or excuse me, my powder could get wet. and that's not going to be useful. So I'm going to just move my guys up one more time. I may have lied. I may move them up a few more times, but let's start getting these guys into formation here so that we're basically waiting for the enemy to move forward. We must seem aggressive, but we also don't want to get too close to these Highlander clans and their nasty sabers. I call them short swords. I think they're probably much more like sabers or rapiers. They can absolutely cut a man in two with the right force applied. So we don't want them getting close to our men at all. Let's keep the Dragoons over here in front of Old Lanark Farm, and we'll move some units up here as well. I'm hoping that we end up defending at this area because we've got some defensive bonuses here. Here we go, the Highland Battalion. So as you can see, some of the Highland clans are working for us. Not as many as are fighting on the other side, but we're not too concerned about them. Forward, lads. Alright, turning it over to the enemy, my friends. Okay, they keep moving forward. It's a shame that they have so much faith in Charles. The guy is going to let them down if they don't win this battle. It really is sad, but the level of loyalty is something I must say I admire. Alright, come on. We've got them in a nice position here. If we could start opening fire at them now, it would be perfect. We've got a decent setup. This is all rough terrain. I don't think they're going to like this area, but nonetheless, it's back to us without a shot fired so far. That's going to change, though. And I'm definitely going to move up over here. I hope they get stuck in the marsh. We've got to keep on moving forward. Like I said, we must seem aggressive, and we also have to take up a decent position here if we want to win the battle. Putting the artillery out there. The only guys I'm going to keep back are the Dragoons. I mean, I might move one Dragoon unit, like, right there just to keep an eye out. That's about it. And we'll move forward with the 4th Battle's Foot. Take a quick look here at our lads. They are itching for combat against these Highland clans. You have to understand these guys have been marching for a long time. They're starving. Both sides are very hungry. This is not a hospitable area. You know, we're in the Scottish Highlands here. There's not a lot of food around, and these British soldiers and their Scottish allies, few of their Scottish allies, desperately want to finish this battle and get back home quickly. So this could be the end of their campaign. They get their pay, they get to go back home to their families. So they desperately want this battle to end. Come on, boys. The sooner we fight, the sooner we can go home. There we go, turning it over to the Jacobites. Now, I fought in the with the Jacobites in my Battle of Prestonpans. You guys should definitely take a look at that. I'll try to remember to put a link for it down below, which is another part in our Jacobite Uprising series. I'm not going to call it a campaign or a walkthrough. It's just a series. We're going to be playing various battles from the Jacobite Uprising, and this is probably the most important of all. The Jacobites did manage to get 2 great victories. We actually had one in our last battle, but eventually they were going to be beaten. It was pretty much that simple. If they didn't get French support, they weren't going to be able to take back the throne, and they never did, unfortunately for them. Also, I don't know nearly as much as I'd like about the uprising itself. I want to study it and eventually do a historical video. So if any of you guys have gotten this far in the actual video, let me know if you'd like to see something like that. If you want some reference, take a look at my Finnish Civil War video that I did quite a while back, and see if you'd like to see me do that. I think that religion played a role too. I believe the Jacobites were Catholic, and of course the British were Anglican, or Protestant, essentially. Although Anglican is kind of a Catholic light, I think. That being said, I think that's partially one of the reasons that people were willing to fight, but I could be wrong on that as well, so don't quote me on that. And in the meantime, I'm keeping the cavalry back to move the infantry forward. Come on, boys. Prefer to get them in an appropriate line here, but we might not be able to do that. We'll have to wait and see. There we go. That's what I like to see. Good work, lads. We're going to get that already right up close and personal. We want to use that on the enemy, and actually during the battle, there was a ton of canister shot used. I believe back then it was called shrapnel shot, if I'm not mistaken. Basically just bags filled with rocks, metal bits, glass, anything that could be used against the enemy, and the British deployed it, or the Hanoverians, I should say, because both sides are technically British. The Hanoverians deployed it in great quantity and managed to do a lot of damage. Turn it over to the enemy. And look at that, they're bunching up. I love them bunching up. I hope they get tangled up in this marsh here. That's going to give us a perfect lane to shoot through. Get close, little laddies. Come on, get close. The 8th All Brigade there. So some of these Highlanders are very, very brave. In fact, most of them are extremely brave. But these are mostly Highland clans, and I'm hoping we can deal with them, you know, up close and personal. So I don't want to get too close. I kind of want to wait for them to get up close and personal to me. So I think here is where I'm going to probably stop. I will bring my cavalry forward, and I'll bring my infantry over here so that they can start getting some shots as soon as possible. So we do want to move these guys up. We just don't want to start shooting yet. Just getting ready. Oh, I love how quickly that Royal Artillery can move. It truly is Royal Artillery. It can even turn on a moment's notice after 2 moves. That's so cool. And I will meet the enemy cavalry. That's the only exception I'm making here in terms of moving out with my own cavalry. I want to make sure we crush their cav so that they're not a threat later on. I don't like where we're sending this artillery, but we don't really have much of a choice, boys and girls. Alright. Bring up the rest. We'll put this one over here on Old Lanark Farm. We can't turn it, though. That pond is a real pain in the ass. And actually, old Farmer Lanark probably uses that to irrigate his fields. So I won't hold it against him. Let's end the turn. The enemy is extremely close, my friends. This is going to be first blood for sure. Yes, there is artillery. We already hit 1 unit of their artillery. Great shots on the enemy cav. They are looking worse for wear, and they're getting closer and closer to our front lines. I love it. Beautiful. They actually got 12 damage there. I've got to give it to Lovett's regiment. They got 12 damage on one of our units. That's quite a lot. I want to try to charge here. We won't do so well, though. So let me get the Highland Battalion. There are cannon fodder. Open fire on the enemy cavalry there. See if that increases our chances at all. I don't think it will. Fire on the enemy cav. Move up the dragoons. I'm going to turn to the enemy and fire at Lovett's regiment if I can. I might have to move forward, and I'm not sure if I can fire if I'm this close. Unfortunately for me, no. I'm going to try to use this road as cover, but look at that. We just revealed Chisholm's regiment. Some of the enemy hiding there in the swamp. And like I told you, these Scots are tricky. They're sneaky guys. This is why they would have been so much better fighting a guerrilla war instead of getting into a battle here with the Brits. Just not a good idea. So I think now we can completely open up on Kepic's regiment there. And the Kepic clan is not going to like that. Move forward. Nice. Here I'm just going to open fire on the right squadron's cavalry. Might be one of the few enemy units that has any real potential to be useful. So I might actually go ahead and fire on them. One of our regiments. We can always turn them around later. Open fire up close and personal with the right squadron cavalry. But it doesn't seem to faze them too much. And we actually can't move this turn. I'm going to try to turn and still fire, but I think we're going to have to wait. And we'll keep on moving our boys forward. But it just goes to show you, the enemy is definitely willing to stick around for a fight. Open fire on the epics. I knew that march would be useful, and as you can see, the enemy is already starting to falter there. It's not a good place to be when you start seeing your buddies drop around you in a place like that. You want to get the hell out. Keep it up, boys. Come on. Another shot to the marsh, perhaps? Beautiful. 7. Now, 7 might not seem like a lot of casualties, but in this war, the Jacobite uprising, we didn't have, massive casualties like we do in World War II or anything like that. The casualties were much smaller. That being said, the massacre that the British carried out afterwards against the Scottish peasantry was pretty prolific and pretty sickening. And I think it was like 100 civilians killed after the battle, but hopefully our men have more sense than that. All right, let's move forward with the artillery. We'll grab the Lankney's Foot and the 6th Battalions. This is French. Alright guys, we're going to end the turn. Let's hope for some awesome residual fire. If we just take a look at our front lines here, they look beautiful. I would not want to be a Scot facing this. Also, the Scots here have deployed on pretty nasty, shitty ground, let's be honest. YouTube will probably demonetize me for that, so keep in mind, if you want to help the channel, you can always head over to our Twitch, click the kitty cat and donate there, or you can donate to my Patreon link, which I will leave down below. But as you can see here, I would not want to be the Scots right now. So let's end the turn. Let's hope we get some residual fire. I do want to charge, but I know it's not the right thing to do at the moment. Believe it or not, the left squadron cavalry would actually crush us if we try to charge. So let's end the turn here. Kill the traitors! Nice, 18 down. Just with them advancing, guys. Look at that. Oh my goodness. The residual fire is definitely doing very well. Keep it up, lads. Oh, we are shooting the hell out of these Highlanders, guys. Another enemy unit revealed in the swamp. The marsh, I should say. The only real, benefit to them with the marsh is it's easy for them to move undetected. But in terms of being stuck there and fighting, not good. And we just disrupted the enemy cavalry. They tried to run us over, but our men held on. Well done, boys. Okay, we've got the trapped here. Boy, and some nice shots there from the Scots. They definitely have muskets with them. Obviously not as many as we do. But they are outnumbered at the same time. And we can do a flank charge here. I've got to do the flank charge. It's our first cavalry charge in this battle. Not bad, not great either. Let's try to charge with another cavalry unit. Another flank charge. And they are fragmented. And I'm going to go for a third charge. That's right, guys. With the Kingston's Light Dragoons. We'll definitely finish that unit off very, very soon. In the meantime, I'm going to try to move our other units up to face the imminent enemy threat over here. So let me go ahead and move up. Let's fire at Perth's regiment. Perth. Traitor to the king. Shame on you, Duke of Perth. We'll move up with our cav. Or our artillery, excuse me. And I definitely want to break that unit. So I'm going to turn and fire at the Kepek's regiment. We could actually charge here with the Fusiliers, but we're really best at fire at units. So what we're going to do with them. Open fire, boys. Disrupted 2 enemy units there. 34 auto brakes. Beautiful. We broke our first group of Highlanders, and there's going to be many more, I hope. Fire. About to get a flanking shot here into some Highlanders, guys. Oh, yeah. And I think we're going to turn this unit towards the enemy cavalry. Run away from us once. Let's try to break them completely. I'd love to charge, but I know better. So let's actually move this cavalry out of the way so that the rest of our infantry can move up. Oh! Okay, they missed, thankfully. And let's open fire there at the Appin Regiment. If you want to have a gun battle, we'll do it any day, lads. 16 down, not bad at all. That unit's fragmented, so we can definitely use... we'll destroy it eventually. Yeah, we're going to have to turn the cavalry. That's the artillery. Why do I always say cavalry? I do know the difference. It's almost like a brain teaser. We're going to turn it there for now, and then I'm going to keep on moving some units forward. But at this point, I think we can just basically, you know, sit back and relax, wait for the enemy to attack, and decide what to do then. I will bring these dragoons out, even though they can't necessarily do much damage to the enemy right now. I think it's a good idea to start getting behind the enemy flank here, if possible. And also, we can get our artillery closer. There we go. Finally got it. Good work, Agrippa. Here we go. Let's take a look around. And we'll end the turn, guys. Let's hope for the best here. God is with us, boys. Against the pretender Charles. There we go. That unit dispersed immediately. And we also broke the enemy cavalry. Beautiful. Good start, guys. Very good start. Oh, there we go. Auto broke another unit. They're going to have to run to the marsh. And look at all the damage we just did there. We killed like 60 guys just by firing at them as they ran. And the unit just auto broke. Probably ran into the marsh here. Probably not a bad idea. So you can see essentially what the enemy was up against here. You know, it was very hard for them to win this battle. It's impossible. Oh, I don't want them to get too close to my artillery here. That canister shot is going to come in very handy. Enemy charge. Fragmented them once more. Oh, they're getting mighty close. Alright, guys, it's back to us. The Battle of Culloden continues. Now, the first thing I'm going to do, you see Glengarry's regiment. We're going to go ahead and fire directly into them. Boom. It's only 3 guys, but I think that's going to scare the hell out of them. And we're going to go ahead and open fire here. We're not going to do very good in a charge against the enemy. And there's a reason for that. And that is that these Highland clan units are actually very good at close combat. And their swords are a testament to that. So we want to try to avoid close combat with the enemy if we can. Speaking of which, we'll take these North British Fusiliers. We'll try to break the enemy. I'm going to get even closer just to fire on this enemy up close and personal. I don't want them getting to my artillery if I can help it, so I'm going to keep moving forward here and responding to the enemy's threats. Unfortunately, we can't turn, but it's the second best thing we can do. Move these units up here. Fire. Now, this is actually dangerous because we could give the enemy a flanking opportunity, but I hope Semple's Foot can do some serious damage. Come on, Semple's Foot. I should call him Simple's Foot, the idiot. Alright, well, I am going to go ahead and see if I can fire here at the enemy directly in front of us. Beautiful. Appin Regiment. I I'm actually going to focus fire on this unit. I think it's a bigger threat. And in Lobot's regiment, so we're going to try to cut that number down significantly. 26, and it's disrupted. That's what I'm talking about, boys and girls. And we'll start turning back with these units, although we do still need to take out the enemy cav. Let's go for it. Our dragoon's broken. Beautiful. Now we can turn our infantry units to more pressing matters, namely the destruction of these Highland clan units. Let's do it, boys and girls. Nice. Oh, not so nice. We did absolutely no damage. That's okay. We can do damage another day. And I'm going to fire from back here. I don't want to get too close if I can help it. And I think next turn the enemy could try their famed Highlander charge. So this is actually a really dangerous turn for us. We need to be able to do this correctly. If not, we're not going to beat the enemy. They're going to beat us. It's that simple. We even got some Irish pickets here that have what looks to be British uniforms. But there's definitely still a lot of enemies left. We've routed 8% of their army, which is pretty good, of course, but we can do better than that. So guys, keep on watching the series. If you guys enjoy watching this channel, please do subscribe, like, comment, share the series with friends if you can. That's one of the most helpful things you can do. And of course, you can always use the Patreon link or the Twitch TV link and just donate to the kitty cat on the lower end of the screen to help out the channel. I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. And we'll come back with the second part of the Battle of Culloden fairly soon, I hope. Take care, my friends.